All right, everybody. First, most exciting piece of information, just in case you did miss it last week. I don't think it made its way into the email, but that is that our 6-week challenge is being extended an additional 6 weeks just for you. So Mike saw that so many of you were making some really great progress. He did not want the progress to stop. And so he said, let's do another 6 right on the back of this. So the beautiful part of that is we're going to take you right to January 4th. So continue to make that great progress. And I think a lot of support coming around you as we go through multiple holidays. Like tis the season, right? For all the things. Alcohol, sugar, pies, cakes, cookies. My kids came home from their homeschool program and they're like, part of my homework is making chocolate chip cookies. I'm like, who gave you that homework? Like that is not okay. But it was all about mixtures and how a mixture can turn into something else. So of course, we did make hot chocolate chip cookies, and I did not eat any, but they are in the kitchen right now. I just don't like having that stuff in the house. That said, I did want to turn it over to you for any wins that you have. I am flying solo today. Mike is under the weather, like his one time every 4 years, so we'll give it to him. But what wins do we have this week? If not, I have 2 to share with you. All right,
I have
Laura.
one. I have one is that I made it here today upon failing to meet all other qualifications during the week, with the exception of the carbs. I never go over the carbs, but I haven't met protein or calories, which is not great.
Rephrase. Laura, what is your win? Corrie-Beth, my win is I never go over on my carbs, and I am so proud of myself for making it to this call.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Right? We're always like, bam, bam, bam. We're beating ourselves up. I'm so happy that you're here, Laura.
Thank you.
Truly. Amy in the chat box, so happy to have gotten my husband to eat carnivore as well. So great to be on the same page. And Amy, I hope you don't mind. I am going to share the other thing that you shared with me earlier, and that is that she's realized how simple this lifestyle is. And that just made me feel really happy for her and her family. She's like, Corrie-Beth, you always say it's simple. And I didn't really believe it back in July, but you know what? It is simple, and they're really enjoying the fruits of that. So congrats, you guys. Heather Levin, you want to share about your clothing size? Because that was exciting.
Yeah. So back in May, I was at a size, and then I went shopping the other day at my favorite store, which is Goodwill, by the way. And I was able to find a brand new pair of Gap jeans and a brand new pair of another brand that I didn't really know what was. But anyway, I'm 4 sizes down, which was crazy. But it's interesting because after that last week, I went ahead and weighed myself, and I'm actually 4 pounds up from my lowest weight, which was so interesting. And for me mentally, I even just messaged Mike this morning. I was like, wow, mentally, that's so hard for me just from my past.
Yeah.
But I'm still wearing the same size. I'm I mean, it's just, and my weights, I've upped my poundage of my weights that I'm using. So I just keep telling myself it's all up here. I know it. So I just keep saying, just keep with the program, stick with the weights, stick with the workouts, stick with what you're doing because it's working. And I feel good too. So that's another huge win, is that it's not just about the scale and the clothing size. It's, how I'm feeling and settling into where I am instead of losing so quickly, which I think I did pretty quickly. And now I'm just going to be happy of where I am, which is an interesting mental process also, of not expecting that. Like you say, Corey, it's like Corrie-Beth, you want to celebrate the small wins, because it's not always about like, oh, I lost 10 pounds last week. It's the micro wins that build up to the macro wins, basically. So so that's my kind of nutshell. But it was interesting how it had like such a peak last week, and then all of a sudden this week I'm like, oh wow, 4 pounds. That seems like a lot, but it's the same.
So true. We had another client, she's not on right now, but we looked at her weight chart, and it was so crazy because she came up a little bit. And when we went back historically over the last 6 months, every time that her weight would do this and she would hit a new low, she'd pop back up. And then it would stay and she'd go low and then it would pop back up and then it would go lower and it would pop back up. And so I made all these little like carrots in her chart. And I was like, look at this, every 3 weeks, this is your pattern. And she goes, oh my gosh. So actually, because I came back up, I'm actually expecting another, we called it a cliff. I don't know if that's, exciting or not, you're going to go off a cliff. But she was very excited about going off another cliff. So those patterns and that data, I think, is so helpful. And how did the fact that your size is the same, your energy is good, like there's nothing that any of us are concerned about on this end. Yes. I love it. Laura gave you a holy cow, nice job. And Jennifer, I feel you, Heather, hit my low weight, then bounce back up 5 pounds. Hormones, jeans still fit. And listen, it might be hormones. It might just be your pattern, right? Like Jennifer saying the same thing. Like, it sounds like you. So I think that's why it's so helpful. I always say, we don't say, oh my gosh, my weight is, we say, the sky is blue, the grass is green, my weight went up. If we cut the emotion out of that statement and it's just like, hey, my weight went up this week, chances are, based on the trends and the patterns, it's going to go down again next week. So it is a mental game. Joyce, same thing. Okay. Oh, Elise, got it. I walked through the door of Pure Physique LaGrangeville this week. That is a win. Welcome back to the Pure Physique LaGrangeville community. And to your point, Heather, about wins, any positive change is a win. My win was actually, I looked at a dish full of sink or a sink full of dishes the other night, and I was like, oh, like I could stay and I could do that and the laundry and the this and the that. And I was like, oh, dishes take 12 minutes, right? I know, because we've timed it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the dishes and nothing else. And I still was in bed by 9:30. And I was like, thank God you didn't stay up. Like, you never get anything good done when you stay up. You feel like trash the next morning. It's constantly reminding ourselves of what's important, what's not. And the most important thing is sleep. Keisha, non-scale victory. I can wrap my bath towel completely. Congratulations. That is so, so awesome. Thank you, Amy. Yes, sleep was amazing. All right. Well, we're going to dive in with some of your questions. Cherie, it's so nice to see you. It's been a couple of weeks. So glad you're here. And Terry, I'm just smiling at you the whole time. So I figured I'd just shout you out because I see you. All right, here we go. Momentum questions. Question number 1. I think this one did get answered, but I do think it's really helpful to answer anyway. Again, it says, I have figured out a good combination of foods that hit my macro targets. Therefore, I find myself eating meals on repeat. Easy choices, easy planning. Will consistency lead to stagnation? Thanks for everything. The short answer is no. I think that consistency is really helpful. For me, I like to have, eggs as a first meal, whether they're hard boiled or over easy or scrambled or however I have them. Like I like to mentally know that that's going to get me about 26 grams of protein. Then I like to have a protein shake in the middle of the day. And I've been adding like raw cacao powder to it to make it chocolate. Sometimes we like to switch up the flavors a little bit. So I took my vanilla shake. Sometimes I put some coffee in it if it's not too late in the day. Sometimes some cacao, just whatever. It is a plant, right? Like it is a cacao bean. I'm going to come back and watch this call and be like, what were you talking about? But anyway, I do like to make it chocolate. And I know that I'm getting about 30 grams of protein there, so it's like having those set meals, there's nothing wrong with it. When we do hit when we do hit stagnation, I should say, because I do want to answer, that's a question that's going to come, I think, 5th today, is what do we do? And there's an answer for that too. But until we're stagnated for weeks on end, then there's something that we want to adjust. But if you're hitting your macro goals, your proteins, your carbs, your fats, you're hitting your calories and you're keeping that consistency, that's where the most people win. It's when we're all over the map that it's really hard to pinpoint, what's going on, what am I doing? So I want to definitely say consistency for the win. And then sometimes we need to do something where we bump things up, which is what we're going to talk about in question 5. To your question earlier, Amy, about just a little increase. We call it a refeed, and that can sometimes stimulate the metabolism to do another drop. I forget who I spoke with. I remember now, actually. She's not on the call right now. And she goes, I ate this big meal and the next day I was down like half a pound. Exactly, right? That's what can happen is we can, if we're consistent for long enough, and we stall out, we do a little bump, and it can create another drop in our weight. So there's lots of strategies that we can use when those happen, but we can't use them until we're consistent long enough. Does that make sense? Consistency wins. In fact, that client said she was going to go buy a little turtle, like a tortoise, to put on her desk as a reminder that it's like the tortoise in the hare. The tortoise does finish the race. It is slow, but that's where we're going to see long-term weight loss. We're not going to see quick drops. There's lots of people out there that are going to go online and talk about, I lost 20, 40, 60 pounds in a month. And I'm like, not really great. It's not the way that you want to do it because you don't often keep that off. In fact, I don't know anyone ever to keep that off. All right. Next is somebody else, just rough week. I know Jackie from LaGrange already dealt with this, but basically this client hit all her protein, fat, and carb targets, but she was not able to get a workout in. And I wanted to kind of hit on that because I did talk with somebody earlier about this today. Like, what do I do if I'm missing a workout? And my answer is we don't do nothing. So if you can't actually get your 30-minute workout in 3 days a week, you're like, oh, I fell one short this week, or I'm not feeling great. My best advice is always to do something small. We had a podcast guest a couple of months back that talked about exercise snacks. And so anything that we can do to just stimulate that muscle, stimulate our brain cells, our thought, our oxygen, our energy. If you can get down and do push-ups to failure, maybe you do 2 sets of them. I think that that's a great option that definitely trumps doing nothing. Earlier today, I was heading down to the gym, but I wasn't going to get to work out because of schedule. So I was like, oh, that's such a killer to be in there, but not get to get on the machines. So I got up on one step up on my stairs and I did a whole bunch of push-ups before I left. I hit my pull-up bar. I try to do that, several mornings a week. And that's what I did. Maybe when we get off this call or maybe on the call, we could do a wall sit together. Anything that we want to do to just stimulate our muscles is always better than not. So first, we don't beat ourselves up for not getting that workout in. Actually, I should say first, we plan the best we can. If it doesn't happen, because life can happen, we don't beat ourselves up. We move in some way, shape, or form. And I will say, like, just taking a walk, I don't necessarily think is enough. I think that you can do that because it makes us feel really good, but that should not replace a resistance training workout. You should perform some type of resistance training, whether it's body weight, weights, dumbbells, whatever you have at home. So pull-up bars, floor, you don't need a lot. We had people get by on a lot less during COVID. Just move your body. Everybody on the same page there? Okay. Especially this person's going through stress. So all that stuff. Heather, your question is up next. Basically, it's the mental struggle, getting through this of the weight being up and the size, though, not going up and clothes not getting tighter. I think you even said that your size is still down clothes-wise, and you're not noticing a difference in how anything fits, correct? Everything fits the same.
Everything fits the same. Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay.
So,
So Mike's answer, which was me this morning, filling in for Mike today. I got his computer, I got on my computer. I saw
Nice.
your message. I'm like, let me write right back.
That's awesome.
Basically just said, weight gain does not always mean fat gain. If clothes are still loose and you're consistent with workouts, could be that water fluctuation. It's also why we don't love just using the scale as one measure. I'm way more attuned to how are my clothes fitting than what does the scale say? Because someone asked earlier today, like, Corrie-Beth, what do you weigh? And I'm not going to tell you on this call. No, I will. I like a range, like my range is pretty set of like 6 or 7 pounds. Once I get above that upper limit, like you got to dial it in, girl. At that lower limit, like I feel really darn good because that bottom weight for me is the weight I got married at. And I personally think my arms look banging in my wedding dress, very muscular, very nice. But it's a range that I live within. And so for you, Heather, that may be the range that you're in. That range can fluctuate and change. Maybe after a lot of consistency, nothing is moving. So we have the little up and then we'll have it down again. Like that then will be your new range. And I will say for the last, barring 3 pregnancies, for the last 14 years, I've maintained that range of 7 pounds. And I would say that I think that that's really impressive for any of us to do, right? Like stay within a range. I have the same clothes. Everything pretty much fits the same. I mean, I wore a blazer yesterday. Jackie complimented my blazer. I was like, that's from like 2010, but thank you very much. I will take it, girl. we can do that, I think, when we're consistent. So to that point, it's not fat you gained, could be a water fluctuation, could be like a body composition change. And so even too, I know that in our studios, we do have Fit 3D machines, which is a body composition scanner. It'll tell us how much fat, how much water, how much lean mass someone is carrying in their body. And it's a far better measure than just stepping on a scale. Because we had a client who was like, I'm so excited, my body fat percentage went down and I gained a pound of muscle. Well, if you stepped on the scale, you know, it might have said the same thing 2 weeks in a row and you might feel really discouraged, but she was able to get a little more detailed data and able to see, hey, you know, yes, my weight came down, but because muscle went up, I actually stayed the same. She felt really good about that. So that's why, again, I never like to tie too much emotion to our weight because we don't actually know the whole picture by just a picture, a scale. Sometimes your genes are going to be the best marker for you, you know, when to just dial it back in. Is that helpful, Heather?
Extremely, yeah, because if I think about it, my wedding weight, I'm within that 6 or 7 pounds. So that's pretty cool. So
That's like
yeah, thanks.
seriously cool. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh,
All right. Next up, Jennifer saying, I think I am in this journey. I think that's where I am in this journey, the range. It's what I've weighed most of my life, still going to push for my goal though. That's it, you know, and to that point too, this actually came in from 4 different people. Same question, you know, how do I really push for that goal? And the answer is not always one that someone likes, but in our experience with clients and gyms and bodybuilders and everyone kind of lumped together into one group, oftentimes if our goal is a number, sometimes I would say, like, not even sometimes, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to push beyond that goal by a couple of pounds and then allow your body to come back up to that goal. What happens in that process is you'll lose a little bit more fat than you may initially be comfortable with. And someone may make a comment, which drives me insane. You know, oh my gosh, like you look so thin, or you got so skinny, or you lost weight. I heard a client say to one of our trainers, like, oh, you look like a skeleton. I was like, can everyone just shut up? Like, you would never tell her she looks like the Michelin Man, but that's, you know, that's not what we say. Love the client and love the trainer, but right away I was like, hey, like we don't talk like that here, you know? So I think we have to put that in our heads. Like I say that all the time because I'll never forget teaching when I was training for bodybuilding and everyone thought I was sick with cancer and I was not sick and I didn't have cancer, but that's what I looked like. And then I came back up and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you look so good and healthy. So sometimes you have to go a little bit beyond it. We call it starving squirrel in the bodybuilding world. You know, your jowls may get a little, but when you come back up a couple of pounds, you look fabulous. Whereas a lot of people will get to that goal and they're like, this is not how I thought I would look here. It's pushing a little bit beyond it to get a little bit leaner. And when you come back up to that goal, you look fabulous. So don't be afraid and definitely don't take it as we're going to get into holidays. And some of you have lost, you know, 10, 20, 30 pounds. You're going to see family and they're going to have comments and they're not always nice. People will not make comments when you gain weight. People will make comments when you lose weight. You know, I think it's just a reflection back of them. Like, oh man, I didn't lose weight this year, but like Tisha lost weight. So I got to comment on that. And it never is going to be one that makes us feel good. So again, back to that mindset of just disconnecting emotion from weight. Like when they say like, oh, Tisha, you got thin, you know what you say? You smile and you go, thank you so much for noticing. Thank you for noticing. Thank you for noticing. You're eating really healthy. Like, why aren't you eating pecan? Thank you for noticing. You know, people just, they shut up. So thanks for noticing. I got that from an etiquette queen of New York City. So that's not just in my arsenal. Like she literally teaches that. You just smile and you say, thank you for noticing. There's really no comeback to that. All right. Next question we had was, do blueberries cancel out protein absorption? I have great news on this. The short answer is no. I went to Mike's lying in bed and I was like, Mike, knock, knock, I have a question. I need help with this one. And so the short answer is blueberries are not going to cancel out protein absorption. You can't necessarily cancel it because you're still consuming it. There are some, Amy's excited. That was her question. There are some anti-nutrient properties in fruits and vegetables, which could be more of where that thought or myth or fact came from. So probably in like large amounts, there's some anti-nutrients that are coming in with the antioxidants, which are good in blueberries. but it's not something that's necessarily going to cancel out the protein that you're consuming. I even did look up a couple of research studies, and they were even saying that the two actually, not that I'm suggesting you have to go eat blueberries, but that whey and blueberries were not necessarily adverse to one another, that it was something that was okay to have. There was one thing I said that was like, don't eat yogurt and blueberries, but it's like there's so much fear mongering with these crazy articles. In short, there's nothing to be afraid of. You can still have your yogurt and blueberries or your cottage cheese and blueberries. They're not going to cancel out the protein that you're consuming. Win. All right. There was one other question. Oh, I already answered the going beyond your weight, right? Below the weight to come back up to the weight. It's amazing. And then final question was, is there a way to log meals on the desktop version of the Trainerize app? If so, can you explain? I think, Elise, this was your question, actually. And the short answer is I am not sure, because we are always logged into the trainer side. So I want to show you one thing before I log out of here. And this was actually a client whose weight I wanted you guys to see, just to look at some of the patterns. I'm going to hide her name because I did not ask permission to share this with you today, but I think it's incredibly valuable to see. So let me just block out her name. See if I could do this. Oh, rats. I don't think I can. All right. No, I don't want to do that. You know what? I'm going to take a screenshot of it. Let's just do that. You guys know I play mindset coach and HR in our studio, so I'm always all about the asking permission. Here we go. This is perfection. All right, I'm even going to block out her weight because that's even going to mess with some people, but I am going to show you this. Okay, so we're going to figure out the Trainerize thing in just a second. First, I do want to show this to all of you. This is the client I mentioned where we were looking at the little carrots in her weight going up and down. And here's just a great little reference. I'm going to go pink. What we notice is that her weight comes down. I need a marker. Here we go. Okay. Her weight comes down and it blips up, but as soon as it blips up, she has a huge drop. Here, we come down, her weight blips up, and then she had a drop. We come over here, right? It comes down and up, and then right after that, drop. Over here, same thing. This probably felt really good, and then she got to this point and she was like, OMG, like, what am I doing? But right after that, right back down again. Isn't that amazing? So this is a 1-year view. It's just from March to November. So, just over 7 months. Same thing. We see it so many times. So I just looked at her and I was like, look at this. This is just what your body is doing. Again, we're going to see bigger fluctuations at the beginning when you have more weight to lose. They're going to become smaller as we go through. But here she is right now. I was like, hey, this weekend, don't get upset when you gain the weight again. You're not gaining fat over the course of a weekend. It's just your body constantly reacclimating to what it is that you're doing. And eventually this will slow down a little bit. But yeah, look at all these little blips in here. Isn't that exciting? So I think this data is incredibly helpful. All right, I'm going to stop the share. I am going to log out as Mike, and then I'm going to log back in as me. And let's see if we can log food from the app. And while I do that, if there are any other questions we can answer, please feel free to unmute. No questions? Did I really do that good of a job? I don't think I did.
Corrie-Beth,
Yes.
this is maybe slightly off topic, but I have one of my best friends, and she actually is in the competitive circuit, or she's not in the bodybuilding, but like the bikini competition or whatever. And she's like 55 and looks freaking amazing. So, she does my hair. So we're sitting there talking about, what she does for her. She's in a competition cycle right now. So it's her understanding, and I didn't get into a back and forth with her because I can't speak so great about it, or I'm not Mike or you, and I don't know really what I'm saying. So she was just telling me though how you need to do some cardio to burn fat, and I knew that's not what I have learned from you guys, but I didn't really know how to like articulate that too well, so I really just didn't get into it with her. But I mean, she does look great, and obviously what she does is she looks amazing. And, I know she eats the same thing every day and, to get to where she needs to be. But I wanted to ask you and Mike about that because I wasn't so sure about, what is the science behind that, and why do why do people think that all the time? I guess that's the what we've been taught all our lives is cardio, 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 you know, is how you get skinny. But so I'm just
It's
curious.
such a great question, and I agree with you, Jennifer. It is an age-old argument that people have. It's frustrating, right? Because we think that we have to do this thing that actually doesn't do the thing we think it does. We think we have to do cardio because we think we're going to burn fat. But I would first, from a personal anecdotal experience, has anyone here ever done cardio and they burn fat? Because I could show you pictures of myself never changing when I was spending, 3 hours a day on an elliptical at the gym doing tons of cardio. Heather
I
too,
was
right?
always doing like cycling, running, I mean, hours a week. And well, I'll show you my picture back in May. That was 20 pounds ago almost.
Can I pull up your pictures? Yes, she's saying yes, but she's muted.
I was saying yes. I'm sorry.
You're
It's the
brave.
first time I never wore, well, I should say college, I wore two pieces. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to wear one ever again. And then when I took that picture this last week, I was like, oh my gosh, I'd consider a two-piece again.
It's so amazing. I want to show. I think
It's
yours are
so
really
fun. Anyway,
beautiful. So
aw.
back to the question. I know I'm jumping all over here. I promise that we will get all the answers before we leave here today. When it comes to cardio, what happens is when we're doing cardio, we are burning calories. We're burning units of energy, calories, right? That's the unit of energy that's used. And what's happening is we're depleting that energy. But oftentimes there's two things I'm going to explain. When we stop doing cardio, we instantaneously stop burning calories. But now we're in a deficit of 100 or 200 calories, maybe 3. A lot of the treadmills and ellipticals you see where you hook up the heart rate monitor to you, they're so inaccurate, you can't even rely on it. Like you did not just burn 500 calories in 20 minutes of an elliptical. You didn't. It's so dependent upon the gender, the height, the weight, the metabolic activity, the basal metabolic rate. You can't just say, oh, you burn 500 calories. So the minute we stop doing that elliptical or that treadmill, you stop burning calories. But oftentimes one thing happens, and that is you're hungrier because now you're in a deficit of 100 or 200 calories. And so oftentimes people will go and eat and they'll consume 100 to 200 more calories than they just quote unquote burned. That was my issue. I'd go eat 400 calories and then wonder why I gained weight. Cardio itself doesn't have the ability to get into the thermic effect of fat burn. It's just burning energy that we have. And typically it comes from the food that we're consuming in that day. So, it's not a calories in, calories out argument. There's a lot of factors to it, which Mike is going to do such a better job explaining to you, Jennifer. But what happens with resistance training is resistance training creates a phenomenon in our body called EPOC, and it's excess post-oxygen consumption, EPOC. And what EPOC does is it actually increases the metabolic burn of our bodies over the course of 48 to 72 hours after we complete that resistance training exercise. So I used to say to clients in the gym back when like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette were like, a big hit on TV, I would say, listen, you could do your 30-minute exercise. You're going to go back and sit on the sofa and watch The Bachelor, and you're still going to be burning calories at that point. So in that way, resistance training is superior to cardio for a caloric burn. But what actually happens with fat burn, or the thermic effect of our bodies burning the fat, a lot more has to do with the calories that we're consuming or not. So you'll hear a lot of people say, abs are built in the kitchen. It's because burning fat actually has more to do with the food we're putting in our body than the activity that we're doing over at the gym, whether it be cardio or resistance training. Resistance training may only burn 80 calories in that 30 minutes, but you'll continue to burn 40 and then 40 and then 30 and then 30 and then 20 and then 20 and then 10 and then 10 and then 10 and then 10 for hours on end. So from a caloric burn standpoint, resistance training is far superior to cardio.
Thank you for that so much. Yeah, she's doing both, of course, and eating perfectly. So, but I don't know. I knew what I was hearing wasn't right, but she does have a trainer, and who knows, like you said, it's like old school training, and it's that, trainer that they train for competitions. So she's doing all the things, including cardio. So she was just like, oh, you need to add cardio. And I was like, oh, okay, just smiled. But I knew that
And
wasn't exactly
sometimes
right.
What competitors will do, and we saw this a lot, is they would go and do like, 5 hours of cardio a week because it burned 500 calories, 100 each time they did it. And then they'd be able to consume more food in their eating plan. Mike and I were always just like, okay, like I don't want to eat 3,000 calories a day. That's exhausting to, buy, prepare, and consume that amount of food. I'd rather eat 1,800 calories a day, and be able to do resistance training. It's less exercise, it's less food, it's more time back in your life. I mean, you do see a lot of these bodybuilders, women and men alike, that will do all of this activity, and right after the show, they go into a slump. Within the next couple of months, they blow up like a tick. And it's because you can't sustain that amount of calories or food that you're consuming, the amount of exercise that they were putting in. It's just not realistic for our lifestyle. So for the rest of us, like we're eating the appropriate amount of food, not more because we're working out more. We're doing an appropriate amount of exercise that actually fits into our time of lifestyle and our day. And look at that, like we're still working and enjoying our time and hobbies. When you're in that mode of all this food and all that exercise, like those people don't go out, don't go on hikes, don't enjoy. It's so measured down to a T. I don't think it's even enjoyable. And I think, again, you look great for a day on stage. And then after that, like, what was it really all for? A medal? The $100 you won as a pro? Because there's not a lot of money in bodybuilding either. I'll tell you that. You spend way more preparing for a show and the day of, between the suit, the jewelry, the tan, the waxing, the food. I mean, it's stupid. The shoes, forget about it.
Agree. It's crazy. And she's already won and looks amazing and she keeps going. And I don't know, it's mental, I guess. I don't know.
I think so. There's a new term in the health world, orthorexia, and it's like an obsession with the quality of food we're eating. I think in some ways, like there is anorexia, right? There is obesity, like there's addictions and cravings. I also think that some people in that world become obsessed with that level of like, I got to get better. I got to get to the next level. And it hits them later, I think, smack in the head. Like it's actually just about feeling good in your body, and that's what I would say all of us are after here. Like I want to feel good. Talking to Amy earlier, she's still on, like she's like, I have great energy. I was like, when we talked, a couple of months ago, you were exhausted. She's like, I know. I talked to another client. She was like, Corrie-Beth, if you saw the workload that I had, I'm not stressed about it. Like, it's kind of insane. Well, yeah, it's the quality of food you're eating. It's the fact that we're focused on sleep and rest. I mean, your body will last so much longer in terms of longevity in life. Like, we all have a lifespan, but we also have a health span. And I think people that push so much and so hard, like they can keep the lifespan, but their health span is back here because they got bum knees, their shoulders, they're exhausted, it's overworking yourself all the time.
Thank you
Kind of
so
a
much.
tangent, but I hope that that's helpful. Yeah. I mean, listen, you could say, hey, listen, good for you. You could take the stance of a researcher and be like, can you show me the research where it says that? Or if you don't want to be a jerk, you just say to your friend, good for you.
Yeah.
You do you, boo. I'm going to do me.
Yeah. I'll just say, I noticed and be nice about it, right? I
There
noticed
you
you look
go.
great and leave
Yeah.
it at that.
Yes. You look fantastic. All right. Tracking food on the app. I can't get into mine right now. I am in Mike's. I also wanted to share the pictures of Heather. So let's do Heather first, because I just think these are so impressive and amazing. Oh, they go all the way back. Heather, you're okay that I share these? Yeah? I'm not putting you on the spot, right? You don't feel pressured to say
No,
yes?
no, no. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just shorts and a sports bra.
You guys, this is amazing. So this was Heather in May of this year. So I don't think you can like fully see, but you can get a feel for just, again, her general shape. Here, here. Can't do side by side on desktop view. See, there's so many things you can and can't do. But then she was here. Okay, I wish, you know what? Maybe I'm going to split screen it. We're going to do our own split screen. Holy bananas. Look at Heather.
Amazing, Heather.
Wow. Like, you look like a different person.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome, Heather.
Thank you, everybody. It's been a blessing to be with you all in this journey.
She's got cuts. Look at your arms right there. The back, I think, is insane. I mean, look, this is completely gone. So fit, so healthy, so strong.
Are
My
there
goodness.
men on this call?
There's no men on this call.
I know some people might listen, so I'll be nice, but my husband likes the backside a lot right now.
I wonder
He
why,
keeps
Heather.
repeating it, and I'm like, "Well, I can't see it, honey." And he just keeps saying it. So anyway, it's very sweet.
I mean, look, just your shape is completely, like everything that was there is gone. It's amazing. So proud of you. How many pounds is that, Heather? You want to tell everybody?
I mean, it was 20, but now with the little bump up in 4 pounds. So, but again, I'm still within, I'm within 2 pounds of when we were married, and that was, how old was I? I don't know. That was 18 years ago. So, and 4 boys later. So yeah.
Amazing.
But I think I love the non-scale winnings. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Just like you were just saying, with the energy and the amount of like life, like stress, but even if it's good stress, right? If you're having fun and it's still taxing on the body to keep up energy wise, I think that's just been amazing. And I think what you just said with the idea behind longevity, right? Like that's really, as we age, that's really what we're looking for, is a lifestyle that can be for longevity. So that's really been a huge blessing. Of course, looking and feeling great is amazing, but just keeping up with life and life demands is so awesome.
It is so awesome. Well, and that's it. I think that it's easy to get a little like tempted. Yeah, I think everyone here has gotten tempted, we could take a pill, we could do a shot, I think there was like a couple of years ago, maybe 2017, I was like, Mike, I think I really need to go do CrossFit. And he's like, oh, what? And I was like, but like, look at like their abs. They're like, like all, and he's like, do you understand how those people beat the pulp out of their bodies to do a lot of the moves that they do? Like, it's not necessarily in good form. And it's like, God just put person after person in my path, like that month. They were like, oh yeah, I need a knee replacement from CrossFit. Like I got rhabdomyolysis from CrossFit. I couldn't move my arms. I was like, oh, okay. Like it's that tortoise. It's slow and steady. It's good meals. I mean, I didn't even finish my eggs, but this was literally lunch, a whole bunch of eggs. 30-minute resistance training workout. I mean, you kind of can't beat that. It's so amazing. And I still have time to spend time with my kids. I mean, that's what we want for all of you, You have time to do the things that you actually enjoy and love, and you're better at it. Hikes are easier, Getting dressed for a family party feels better. Getting packed for vacation does not feel as stressful. Getting to work when you have a whole load of stress on your plate does not feel bad, right? Look at this, everyone. We sparked some motivation for Laura over here. Is it possible, seriously, to get back to wedding weight? Yes. I would have to lose over 30 pounds, plus my body shape is so different now. I'm not shooting for it, but is it possible? And then she did say CrossFit killed me. My thighs never touched, and I was lifting like that, and no one helped with the nutrition. Dang, so good. And Cherie, can I just give
Can
an
I?
atta girl?
Oh,
Go ahead.
I never thought my abs would ever look like that. I didn't even look like that in college.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding. Like and my thighs always touched, and now they're not. I mean, so yes, it is possible. I mean, it's consistency, and I mean that was 6 months ago. So don't it's better. It'll, like Corrie-Beth was saying, I do feel like it'll stay off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Coach Heather just answered your question, Laura. It is 100% possible to do that. And again, here's what I'm going to say. Like, is it going to be simple? It'll be simple. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not. Because it does mean looking at things differently or treating situations differently. You know, you may see like, oh, like out to dinner with friends, I always get onion rings. And maybe on like the flexible plan, you could get by with that. Where, okay, I'm still losing a little bit of weight and like I generally feel good about myself. Getting to that next level, I don't know whether we should go like this or we should go like this because we're losing the weight to get there. You know, getting to that next level does require us to do some uncomfortable things, you know, and some of those things just, you know, from most of you, it's not having the alcohol, you know, and some people are good with that and some people are not good with that. So I think it's a measure of just like, hey, it's like a check-in with yourself, like, hey, self, like, how would it really feel to go from now till January with no alcohol? Like, could I survive Christmas, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, New Year's? Like, would I be good with that? Like, what things could come up? Like, what things could inhibit me from doing that? In fact, I have a really great mindset activity that we could share in the replay. Where is it? And it's basically like weighing out that stuff. Like, what is it that could stand in my way and block me from this thing? And really taking inventory. Like it actually makes you dig deep because you could just say right now, like, yeah, no alcohol is fine. But what's that really going to look like on Thanksgiving when everyone's having wine and you always have wine and then you decide not to, you know, or going out to dinner with friends. We have another client that's not on today. She's got a big tournament, football games down at her daughter's college. And she's like, Corrie-Beth, look at this menu. It's like pasta Alfredo, pasta this, pasta that, and like chicken tender. She's like, what the hell am I going to do? There's three approaches to it. You know, approach number one is eat the food that's there. Approach number two is search for the protein. That was my suggestion. Like eat the meatballs out of the pasta, peel the breading off the chicken, or if you don't want to look like a weirdo, just eat the chicken tenders. Like it'll be what it'll be. You know, or option three, some people would just say, I'm going to eat before and not even eat there. It's just, it's dependence of like what you're most comfortable with to get to the goal. But understanding like stuff's going to happen. I mean, Mike is devastated. He's not going to hit his protein goal today. I mean, he could barely get down 4 eggs, the poor guy. You know, he's not sick like that, but like he just feels really weak. And I'm like, stuff's going to happen. It's not ever going to look perfect, but how comfortable are you going to be doing the uncomfortable things of abstaining, saying no, not showing up, not eating, choosing something different, looking like a sore thumb sometimes, you know? It's your level of confidence, conviction is the determinant for whether or not that's something that is worth going after right now in the season of life. I'm going to ask you these couple of questions because I feel like they're really helpful for people and just making sure like, hey, like, can I really do this? Where is it? Oh, here we go. You know, it's just the basics of nutrition. Is like, what is your one goal? So if you could think about your one goal, is it a weight goal, an energy goal, a body goal, a toned goal? Why is it important to you? So for you, Laura, like, why would it be important to get back to wedding weight? I mean, I think it would just be like super freaking badass to be able to say, like, I'm at my wedding weight. I mean, that'd be amazing. What will happen if you don't follow through? Okay. You know, what is going to happen when you do? What's achieving it going to mean to you? And what's going to happen when temptation comes up? So making poor food choices at family parties, you know, maybe getting easily offended or hurt when someone says something about what you are and are not eating. It's possible. It's totally freaking possible. I think everyone here has proved in some degree or form that like something is possible. Terry had a carnivore Christmas last year. Like she proved that it's possible to do brisket and things, you know, and again, it's not always going to be easy. My mom now does, I can't wait for Thanksgiving. She does ribeyes for Thanksgiving. We don't even get a turkey anymore, you know, and that's been like a slow transition over the last couple of years. But, you know, it was really uncomfortable in the beginning when she was like, you know, we're going to have stuffing and cookies and Easter, we're going to make cookies. I'm like, can we do something different? She's like, are you kidding me? This is our Italian tradition. We don't make cookies anymore, you know? So it was uncomfortable in the beginning. I want to shout out Cherie. She wants to give everybody here an atta girl for doing it slow and steady. Because all of my friends, literally all of them are on the shot and they are losing weight, but they look old. Cherie, can you just unmute for a second? Because we see this in our gyms, we see it online. This is actually a conversation we have a lot, and I would love your perspective on it. I'm trying to unmute you, but I can't. Hold on, I'm going to ask again. You're not unmuted yet? There you go. Oh, we still can't hear you. You're not connected to audio. Not today, Satan. We need to hear this from Cherie. No? All right, we'll give that a second. We'll come back. I did have one other question come in. I think you can reconnect audio. Maybe log out, log back in even. I'm coming in on questions. There was one other question about sleep. Jackie, are you in a place that you can unmute and ask the question about sleep? Nope, she's not. Okay. The sleep topic. So I just want to quickly touch on sleep.
I'm sorry. I couldn't find the
Yes.
unmute button.
Perfect. Go for it.
So yes, one of our clients in LaGrangeville, she says she's doing everything right. She's working out. I know she's giving it her all in the studio. But she says she's feeling flabby. And I asked her how her sleep was, and she says it's terrible. She's taking Ambien. She still has terrible sleep. She has a hard time falling asleep, and then she's up at like 2, 3 in the morning, is wired, and then feels like a zombie by 2 p.m. So I told her, sleep absolutely can affect your progress. So I wanted to know if you were able to shed more light on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ambien's tough, I know, and there's a couple of people that take it and it just helps them to actually get the sleep, but it's not really quality sleep. It's like this difficult, like catch-22. When it comes to sleep, I am just going to say that sleep is absolutely, positively crucial, vital, and the most important thing for all of us to get. It's the easiest thing aside from maybe water to skimp on, like just another half an hour, just another hour, just another email, just another project, just another load of laundry, whatever it might be. We have to get our sleep. Sleep literally is that restorative process over the course of the night. Our digestion is complete. Our restoration of our cells and our muscles is complete. And so when we're not sleeping, it's like the number one hidden part of like people not losing weight is that sleep component. Like it will absolutely stunt your body's ability to release fat. Some people feel like they still feel full in the morning when they wake up. In terms of this client feeling flabby, I've been thinking a lot about this question. I definitely do think that sleep is 70 to 80% of it. The other like 20 to 30% is Jackie, want to see like what is she eating and is it consistent on a day-to-day basis? I think the only reason that we might feel flabby, if that's really how she's feeling, because she's working out, maybe not enough water, maybe not enough sleep, maybe there's something going on with the food. But is she just consuming like the wrong amount or breakdown of calories would be my best guess. And then you like throw in not getting enough sleep. And I think it's a perfect storm for just not feeling tight and toned and energized and alert. So Mike has a whole presentation on the dangers of sleep. I'm going to toss it over to Cherie to talk about the shot that all the friends are on that they're all using. And then I want to just show you a couple of these downsides basically of not getting enough sleep. So Cherie, I don't know if we can unmute you now. You're still muted. It's you. Oh man. Can I call you on the cell phone and then you want to tell us through the speaker? Let's do that. I think I saved you actually here. Cheri. Hold on, 10 more seconds. And did I miss another? I feel like there was one other thing. I got to scroll down over here. We got no Macy. We got no Mike. We were just doing this together, you guys. Paste. All right, Cherie, I'm calling you.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can.
So, just so y'all know, my speaker. Are y'all getting audio back?
Can you guys hear that? Can you hear it there? Yeah, okay.
So I have a nice little sound system hooked up so I can do my workouts with Mike on all my computer screens. So I don't know how to undo it. So I couldn't figure it out. But literally my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, all of my friends, because I've noticed people have lost some weight, and then I would comment, "Oh, you look so good." I'm on the shot. I mean, everybody is like within 2 minutes, it's like they're proud of it. And now that I've seen them a couple months later, their skin is sagging. And of course, y'all have heard me say, everybody tells me how good my skin is looking with my meat and water that I'm eating, drinking. And so their skin is sagging. I mean, they look like they're 65 and I'm 53. So all my friends are young 50s. But I mean, when I tell you they look old, they look old. And to Heather's point, my husband's been calling me skinny now. So it's just doing it I won't say the hard way because it's not hard. It's just being consistent and sticking with something that you see working and believing in you. Because I mean, it took me a hot minute. I was a slow start, and I just had to get my mindset right and really make protein a priority. I was doing the workouts, but 2 a week, and now I'm consistent doing my 3 a week and walk my dog every night and I do the 3 o'clock protein shake that you told us to do. And that's when I really started going, okay, it's clicking, mentally it's clicking. And now I'm seeing it. So for, earlier when somebody said, I said, I can put my legs up. I'm like, look, legs being good. So it's just, it takes a minute and then all of a sudden it starts coming back. But my robe fits. I can wrap a towel around me again. My children are like, Mom, you looking good. I'm like, thank you. Mike and Corrie-Beth. I call him Mikey though. I'm like, it's Mikey. They know who y'all are.
That is awesome. That is really, really awesome.
So I'm thankful for y'all. Very much so.
We're so happy for you and your beautiful family. You got to meet, daughters and all the things down in Texas, which was so much fun. Yeah, so it's Ozempic and Wegovy, and I'm gonna hang up. That's good. You're amazing. You're the best. Thank you. The crazy thing, because a couple of clients have asked, what about, and we actually have a practitioner in one of our studios who prescribes it. So I was like, give me the goods, like explain to me what is the fascination with it. And she just looked at me, she was like, people don't want to do the work. Because we were going to do a partnership. Because what happens is people lose so much weight so fast that they're also losing muscle. So she's been one of 3 practitioners that have reached out to us. Like, we really need to send our patients to you guys to build muscle because they're losing muscle because they're losing weight so fast. So because the weight is coming off so quickly, because it's a GLP-1, right? So it's actually I just listened to a whole podcast that explained it, but it's basically this marker in the gut. It's the upper intestinal tract. The same thing by eating high amounts of protein is the same thing this shot does, but it actually makes you not hungry and the food does not move along your digestive tract. So people were even having like bowel obstructions and other things that are a bit more dangerous. Then you can end up with malnutrition because you're actually not eating enough food for your body. So like there's just too many things on this list where I'm like, don't think this is a great move, but these practitioners keep sending people like they got to work out with you. They got to work out, and we're kind of like our hands are tied because these are not people that are coming to us for nutrition, but of course we're going to help them and serve them on their journey right now. But what we're seeing, and actually Jackie had a client in her studio that I got to interview one-on-one, and this practitioner said the same thing verbatim. Once you go off it, you gain back the weight and more. And I'm like, so then what is the draw with this then? It's to look good for a period of time, but once either you get kicked off insurance, because if you're 400 pounds and you get down into a healthy weight, your insurance is not going to cover it anymore. So then your insurance doesn't cover it. So you're looking at $800 to $1,200 a month on this medication that you then must stay on, because the minute you go off, your weight comes back up. Jackie's client specifically said that her doctor said, or she went to the doctor and said, I want to go off this. The doctor said, you can't. And the client was like, are you kidding me? Like, I want to go off this. You can't. You go off it, you're going to gain the weight. She went off it. She gained the weight. I think what she said, Jackie, correct me if I'm wrong, she had lost 40 on it. Like, that's amazing. She gained 50 and now she's miserable. And she said, it's so much harder now to lose the weight. Go ahead, Jackie.
It's true, absolutely. And she says, I wish I just had started this and trusted the journey and done this all along, because now she's at a much better place and is gaining the muscle back. But yeah, she was so angry that she's like, I lost all my muscle.
Crazy. And to Laura's point about your body, like weight being redistributed differently, what I've seen in my own body, I've seen in clients' bodies, is by doing resistance training, you'll maintain weight in the right places and it gets lost in the wrong places. Right, Tisha? Like you see that redistribution happening where I had clothes from when I was a teacher. So we're talking like 2007, and I had a couple of fitted like silky tank tops and I put them on. I was like, oh my God, they don't even fit correctly anymore. They fit different, but I look so much better. I feel like I was very like barrely, where now I feel more shapely. You know, it's because your muscles are gaining in the right spots. And I think that by just doing this like massive, like you're gonna lose fat, you're gonna lose muscle in the process, you're just gonna end up skinny fat. And Jackie, I'll never forget where I was standing in your studio and that client was like, I'm so pissed I even did it. I'm like, that's the message that people need to see, because I'm even getting messages from like the, urgent care places I visit, Wegovy is changing lives. Get on Ozempic. I literally want to write back, like, shove this up your butt and stop sending this stuff out. Like, this is terrible that this is being marketed. I do, Tisha, I really do. I was thinking about it, but I think it goes to like a no reply, and then I won't feel like I actually accomplished my mission of like, telling them off. But I'm like, how do I opt out of this nonsense? I mean, I could pull up one right now and it's crazy. The wording, like it makes it sound so attractive. Like, oh crap, I want to go on this thing. No, you do not. Then they sent one actually on the 4th. So 10 days ago, managing Ozempic side effects, nausea, and alcohol interaction. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was not fast. 15 Ozempic side effects you should be aware of. Oh, I didn't even read that one because I was so mad at it anyway. Here's another one though. Previous to that, Stacy found success with GLP-1s. You can be next. Understanding Ozempic for weight loss and semaglutide dosage. Ozempic for weight loss. Who should consider it? Is it effective? Like it's all these like, yes, 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 but that's funny. 10 days ago, here's all the side effects. Gastrointestinal issues, thyroid risks, and other potential complications to watch out for on Ozempic. Like just eat protein. Can we just eat protein and resistance train? Like this is really all we need. And it's going to be slower, but you know what? It's like the tortoise and the hare. Like you and your friend are here. You are the tortoise. They are the hare. They're going to race ahead to the halfway point and lose 40 pounds. And you're going to slowly come along. And they're going to say, look at me, look at me, look at me. But when they lay down like the hare did to take that nap, you're just going to keep on plugging away consistently. And all of a sudden you get to the finish line and they're up 30, 40, 50 pounds. Like, was it worth it? I don't think so. And like, I just wish that we could be smarter. And I'm not saying anybody's dumb, but just more savvy as human beings, that like anything you see that's advertised to this extent and is this profitable for this pharmaceutical companies, it is only ever a matter of time before your little box in your living room comes up with a little picture on it in between your shows that says, if you or someone you know is negatively impacted by this drug, you may be entitled for compensation. Like, I'm just waiting for the day because it's happening with all of them right now.
Corrie-Beth, it reminds me of the fen and Redux, where people were taking that back in the day and it was destroying their heart valves. And people actually died because they were taking that weight loss medication. And they still have litigation going on with that.
Crazy. Well, and half these drugs are not being used on what they were intentioned for in the beginning. Wasn't it Viagra? What was it originally for? Viagra was originally intended for something completely different than what it ended up being used for. Viagra was originally intended to be used for treating chest pain, angina, and high blood pressure, as researchers initially developed it as a potential cardiovascular medication, not for erectile dysfunction, which was later discovered as a side effect. Holy crow. I could just imagine what that waiting room looked like of all these men coming in like, I don't know what to do with this. And they're like, let's market it as this. Brilliant. Yeah. That's a fun note to leave on. 4 o'clock. It is so wrong. I'm with you, Amy. And Amy said our family doctor wanted to put my 20-year-old daughter on the shot. Quick fix is never a good thing. I could not agree more. So I think that that's where we'll leave it. Quick fixes are never a good thing. I mean, we see them with, Ponzi schemes, right? Like make 20 grand. You're not. Lose 20 pounds in a day. You're not. Like there's no quick fix for anything. Final thought. We have really good friends and clients that just had a baby, and the baby was like 6 days late. And the mom was like, oh my gosh, this is killing me. I feel like something's wrong with me. It's taking so long. And I'm like, good things in life take the right amount of time. Like you can't rush a baby being born. You can't rush a loaf of bread being cooked in the oven. You can't rush an investment. Like all of that, it takes the appropriate amount of time. Like your body is no different. You can't rush a flower blooming. Like the seedling has to happen, the roots have to take root. Otherwise, you're going to have a flower that topples over when the first windstorm comes. Like everything has a set process and it's meant to be that way in nature. Your body is natural, so it is the same. Yay, turtles. I think we should be Team Tortoise. All right, you guys, thank you so much for spending this time with me. It was an honor to spend it with you. I look forward to seeing you back here next week. And again, to reiterate, 6 more weeks of the 6-week challenge. So we're going to go strong right through the new year. It's going to be amazing. Love you guys. You're the best.